While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to have a little thoughts on the whole Annie Vedal situation because, among other nerdy things I like VTubers. Inugami Korone is best girl. For those who don't know, Annie is an artist and VTuber model, as in she actually makes the models that people use when they're VTubing. And quite famously, she was commissioned to make the model for Neurosama and Evil Neuro, or basically her evil twin, right? Those two are AI powered VTubers made by a guy who goes by Vedal. And they're good wacky fun because they're AI powered, but they can get very unhinged and are surprisingly witty for being clankers. Uh, But the problem is that apparently, at least according to Annie, and I haven't seen anything to contradict this, she caught feelings for Vedal. They were not reciprocated for whatever reason. They both said, okay, fine, we'll just more or less amicably split on that, and I'll just do my professional duty. The problem is that a lot of people didn't know that was going on, and that's a problem because, especially when it comes to the artist and fan fiction portion of the VTubing community, that particular demographic skews female. And one of the things that they really like to do in those circles is what's known as shipping. For those who are not in the know on that, it means relation shipping, as in it's when you essentially theory craft romantic pairings between characters that often aren't canonically in their fictional universe supposed to be paired. Some people just, have weird hobbies. But the problem is that there is a lot of shipping that goes on in the VTubing community because it has a bunch of anime characters in it, but they're not actually anime characters. They're real people, just with an avatar that represents them, right? It would be like, I want you to imagine if someone was trying to ship Bugs Bunny with Daisy Duck, but they did it by actually trying to get their voice actors together, right? And Vedal is usually referred to as Neurosama's dad because he made the program. There's a tradition in the VTubing community where when you are the artist who makes a model, you are referred to as their mom or dad, depending on if you're male or female. Annie is female, so she effectively became Neuro and Evil Neuro's mom, and Vedal is their dad. And real life people tried to real life parent trap them, essentially, and it worked on Annie to the point where she caught feelings. It didn't work on Vedal for whatever reason, but they didn't know that, so they kept going, and Annie basically had to stew in this weird situation where she was cutting back on the amount of time she was interacting with Neuro on their streams and whatnot because she was trying to distance herself from Vedal, while at the same time people are just straight up writing fan fictions and drawing pictures of the two making out, okay? As politely as possible. That's how I'm going to put it. So this, as you can imagine, did a number on her mental, and she disappeared for like half a year or something, and only just now came back and basically said all this stuff about, yes, I did in fact like fall in love with him and it didn't work out and yada yada yada. And this is absolutely not surprising whatsoever because it's not a crazy scenario, despite how completely out of bonkers, out of whack that everything I just said sounded. It sounds like a schizophrenic fever dream, right? Let's talk about basic human dynamics when it comes to this sort of thing. When men and women are trying to pair off, there's a couple of things that are just generally always true. You pair off with someone who is in your immediate social circle, like ignoring stuff like social media, dating apps, and like Saudi oil princesses, not princesses, Saudi oil princes like sliding into the DMs of some random cute girl from Omaha, right? Aside from that, you're going to be looking for someone who is within driving distance. When you're going to school, it's going to be your classmates. When you're out of school and working, it's going to be your coworkers. It's going to be people who go to the same public venues that you do. If you go to church, it's going to be someone from your church. If you go to a bar, it might be someone you pick up at a bar. And also, in general, women are drawn to success. They like proven winners. I mean, right? And because of that, men like to show off their success, which is where you get, conspicuous consumption. Look at my car. I own this really nice car. How did I get that car? Well, either I'm capable of working my ass off and I earned it, or I come from old money and I'm just set for life and therefore already winning. Whichever. They're both markers of success in a way. And naturally, women like markers of success. Meanwhile, one of the most popular archetypes in all of VTubing right now is referred to as the girl failure. So, I mean, that kind of tells you where people's priorities are. Yeah, she might be completely worthless, but if she's, cute and ditzy and nice, maybe. But anywho, as far as I am aware, Vedal is functionally the most successful non-corporate male VTuber. And he might have all this, imposter syndrome about how he's not really all that popular. It's really Neuro and Evil who's doing all the heavy lifting. No. It's the human element. Trust me. It's Vedal. It's the people that Neuro collabs with. I do love Neuro to death as much as you can, a filthy clanker. But Vedal is it. He is the man. And that's kind of the problem, because VTubing is, by and large, overwhelmingly a demographically female profession. Easily 95+% of all the most successful VTubers are female, with the exception of Kuro Sanji. Like, no other corporate entity that runs VTubers has managed to make a truly successful male branch. They've got 4, 5, however many successful female generations, I should say, and they can barely maintain their guys. And even the Niji guys mostly do like lewd ASMR stuff. So if you're a female VTuber who's someone who works from home, who doesn't socialize a whole bunch, because you're kind of a shut-in, because VTubers tend to be shut-ins, and you're looking for a guy in your particular social circle who is visibly successful, what I'm trying to say is that legitimately Vedal is the protagonist of a harem anime at this point, because he is essentially the equivalent of a 9 out of 10 in a sea of presumably available women who are looking for the 9 out of 10 to settle with. So when it comes to people he just professionally interacts with, I mean, they're all women. Like, all of them, except for, like, Porcelain Maid, Joel, and even he's cross-playing. Like, I don't know if he's ever... I mean, Neuro's probably interacted with Heavenly Father at some point, and he's a pretty cool guy. He's pretty successful as a male VTuber, but he's also a live streamer, from my understanding. What other guys are there? They're all like the politically charged guys. I mean, you can get pretty far as a politically charged male VTuber, apparently, doing commentary and drama stuff, but half the women don't want to deal with those guys because, ew, right? So Vedal, I think, is in a very precarious situation, because literally any female that he interacts with, if they are not already in a committed relationship, is at extreme risk of at least taking a run at him. like I said, dude is basically a harem protagonist. He's the guy who doesn't really think of himself as being particularly special or noteworthy, that just accidentally stumbled into success, and now he just has a bunch of attention starved women that he is obligated to work with, more or less. So he's forced to socialize with them, and I mean, heaven help that man if he's already married and nobody knows about it. Like, imagine if that was the case, and he just, for whatever reason, hasn't told people. I think he probably should if that's the case. Or maybe he's just, dating some normie who's not even in the VTuber sphere and doesn't want to drag her into it. Could be gay, could be already dating someone behind the scenes and doesn't want to let it out. Could be all sorts of things. He could just not have a sex drive for whatever reason. So, but it's going to continually drive people crazy, and he's unfortunately surrounded himself with one of the most crazy demographics in the world, which is female shut-ins. Yeah, good luck, mate.